Hello and welcome along to this, the last episode of the Panto podcast. No, not forever. It's going to be coming back in 2022, but I just need to get back on the road and start recording more. And I've had a few people say to me, can we support you in any way? Yes, you can. If you know anybody who would like to be on, please inbox me. The way you can get in contact is pantopodcast@hotmail.com. And I know it's cheeky, but if you are enjoying the series, please consider treating me to a coffee or something like that. And you can do that through the website www.paypal.me/pantopodcast. Because trust me, the way fuel prices are going and travelling all around the country recording these episodes, it's getting a little bit pricey. So if you have enjoyed it, go on, buy us a pint. Anyway, back to this week's episode. I'm proud to say I have finished this series off with an absolute legend of not only theatre, circus and variety. The legend himself, Norman Barrett, MBE. He tells me in this episode how his act began, his daredevil stunts, and taking his responsibilities as a ringmaster very, very seriously. So please, for the final time, sit back and enjoy the latest Panto podcast. My guest for today's Panto podcast is circus legend himself, Mr. Norman Barrett. Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great, thank you, and we're here in your home in Blackpool. So, Norman, how did you actually get started in the business? Was it a family business?
No, my father's parents owned an iron and steel factory in Bradford, and the two sons, that was my father and my uncle, didn't like it at all. All my uncle wanted to do was to go into the army, and my father would always wanted to have animals, and he used to look after all the dray horses on the factory. And then when he sold the factory, my uncle went into the army, unfortunately got killed, and my father bought a farm, had a lot of animals, and then was very interested in circus and started to play around training animals. And he was pretty good at it, apparently. And one day, the circus world had heard about this crazy farmer in Yorkshire, and came to see what he could do, and said, yeah, we'll give you a job. So we started a job. After about 6 weeks, which he never got paid, he went back to the farm and he thought, I could do this, and ran his own small circus. This is in the 20s. And then it went on, and then when the war came along, of course, it stopped. But he still kept the animals. And then I came along, and that's how I got into it. So I was kind of one step removed from a farmer.
Do you remember that first experience with performing with an animal?
Yeah. My dad was a good trainer with dogs and horses, and I remember helping him, and I just loved it. I just loved every moment of it. I mean, it sounds crazy, but I've just loved my life as up to now, and I'm still loving it. I've stopped touring, but that's through COVID and through Anno Domini. It's taken over a little bit. And I had thought about stopping, and I thought, no. But having a year and a half out of COVID, it made that decision easier. But yes, of course, I love touring, I mean, it's a hard life, but you've got to love it. And most of the people in it love doing what they're doing. And my dad, he was very good with animals, and that's where I inherited it. And then, over the years, I went to the Robert Brothers Circus, and it was in Robert Brothers Circus in 76, something like that, I became the ringmaster for the very first time. And since then, it's taken me around the world, to Israel, to America for 2 years, ringmaster with the Big Apple Circus, as well as doing the Budgie Act. And the Budgie Act, it started out as a mixed bird act, excuse me, I was going to have budgies, pigeons and everything. And I got the budgies and somebody came round and said, you don't need anything else. And I didn't need anything else. And happily, it's taken me around the world. I mean, funny things happen, you know. I was coming back into Blackpool one night about 3 o'clock in the morning after doing a gig in Manchester. And I was bringing with me, I had in the back of my Land Rover 12 budgerigars, 4 pigeons, which I'd trained to work in the Royal Ballet in Les Deux Pigeons, 4 pigeons. I had a boxer dog, a Yorkshire Terrier, and I had a clairvoyant hen. I was bringing it back for somebody. Leslie, what was Leslie? I can't think of his other name. So I get stopped. So the policeman says, but just a normal stop, innit? What have you got in the back of the car? 12 budgerigars, a Yorkshire Terrier, a boxer dog, 4 pigeons, and a clairvoyant hen. So he said, no, I know it's late, but don't be silly. So he said, I've got to look. So we opened the back of the car, 12 pigeons, da. And he said a 4-letter word, followed by off, and anyway, I saw him about 3 weeks later in Blackpool. He said, I really thought you were winding me up that night. Yeah, but then I've happily gone around the world doing what I enjoy to do. America was great, as I said, with the Big Apple Circus, and then televisions in Las Vegas, and that was that was unbelievable time, you know. Went down there, had fun. But the most important thing, Sal and I, we enjoy ourselves wherever we go. We've been in some really grotty places, you know, in Europe, you know, terrible places, cabarets, well, they're more like strip clubs, where they have to have 2 acts to get the license, you see, that it's a cabaret. And you know you're not really wanted in these places. So you go in and kind of just do it and go. But having said that, we still enjoy the time we had there. You know, we're not negative about anything, we're positive. If they say, well, you've got to do it over there, okay, we do it then. Like you, no doubt. You just get on and do it. There's no one to say, well, I've worked with people, this is not like the right. They're just making headache and you just go in and doing it. But it's great fun, you know. And I mean, when we did all the clubs in Wales, and they used to be really, really interesting. And we went to one club, and the guy that owned this club, he said to us, he said, right, before we start, I want all the artists to come into my office, and he put all the lights out. We're sitting in the darkness. He says, no, I wanted to, and he was all serious, and he's talking to us about ghosts and things like that. We're all sitting there thinking, why do we have this? But it's part of what you do, you know. But as I said, it's, you know, kind of to working at the I worked with many circuses in England, Bertram Mills Circus, where I used to do this act as Ben-Hur. And the idea, you stand on 2 horses and dressed in your Ben-Hur outfit, and you gallop round the ring, and every time you get to the entrance, they let a loose horse go through your legs. Now the secret of the act is to make sure the 2 horses you're standing on don't get too wide apart. So this night, they're too wide apart. And as the horse came through, I was hit in a very painful and vulnerable place. And I used to have to jump off the horse at the end of that, go up to the camera, and we were doing television this day, and go, "Hail Caesar!" You see, so this day, the horse too wide apart, and I jumped off, and I went up to the camera and went, "Hail Caesar!" Which is a true story, and that was with Derek Burrell Davis. And then it's, as I say, I just enjoy doing what I'm doing. I mean, You know, when you're the ringmaster, it's a responsible job. You're responsible for the running of the show. Yeah, I always say there's two times you never talk to artists. Too much time, 2 minutes before they go in, because they get themselves wound up, and 2 minutes after they come out, because if they've worked badly, they're already upset. You know, so you have to be, you know, careful about what you do. But it's been an enjoyable, you know, a job up to, well, it's not a job, it was a lifestyle.
How then did that become a thing with you, to be the ringmaster? You said you got asked, but did they see a sort of a shine in you? Did they see an authority figure in you?
Well, I was with the Robert Brothers Circus, and they had their ringmaster who had left, just walked out. And Kitty Roberts said to me, she said, "You're tall, you talk good, and you know what you're doing. You should be a ringmaster." And it was, I'd take my hat off, my top hat off to Kitty Roberts, and she made me a ringmaster. And since then I've stuck with it and enjoyed it all the way. Yeah, it's you do have hassles at times, but there's always solutions to problems. And I often think if you kind of do about it in a gentlemanly way, a correct way, you win in the end. You know, and you get your point across. And, you know, there's a lot of temperamental artists in show business per se.
I don't believe that.
Oh, yes, I do. Oh, no, you don't.
What about, how do you deal then with cheeky clowns?
Pardon?
How do you deal with cheeky clowns?
Oh, yes, I handle them quite well, you know. I mean, the thing is, I love working with clowns, actually. You know, working with Charlie Jr., the person white with in America. Excuse me, I've got this throat today. Person I worked with in America. He and I used to get on so well, and we could do anything. You know, whatever way they went, I would follow, or I would lead them, or they would lead. And it's about an experience. But clowns are there used to be a very good clown over here, Jacko Fawcett and Little Billy. They were with Robert Brothers and Bertram Mills Circus, and we used to go in there not knowing what we were going to do, really, at times, but it all happened. You know, it's like double acts, isn't it? You get a double act, whichever one says, or the other says, you follow in, you just go into it. It's like we're working in pantomime with Jimmy Cricket. You know, we had a great time, and we used to go on and change things as we were going along. And his son used to say, "You two live dangerously." But I used to say, but that's the excitement of it. That's the fun of it. You go in there, you know, if the audience see you enjoying yourself, they're going to enjoy even more. But if you go on with a miserable face, you know, there are a few but very clever comedians that go on very, very miserably. I mean, on these clubs sometimes, I know we work with Max Wall, who actually used to slay them at night, but it was, in some ways, he was quite a sad sort of person. And we always used to tour with the Caravan, and he used to say to us, "Can I come round?" And he said, "Just come round to the Caravan and sit and talk for hours." You know, all great stuff, but the people. But no, doing my job, I mean, as I said, you're responsible for what's going on, but what's to go wrong, and helping acts. You know, I'd always remember one time in Blackpool, we had this flying trapeze act, and they were climbing up, and I could see the rigging, and there was a bolt coming out of the rigging. So I stopped the act. You know, I said, "No, you can't do it." Why? I said, "Well, that's not right." And it's watching out for what other people are doing. You're like nursing them, you're taking care of them. You know, you have to be present. You have to be that, like, "My lords, ladies and gentlemen." You've got to do all of that, but you've got to be able to look and see what's going on. And when we had a wild animal act in at the Tower one year, and with lions and tigers, and one day this lion started to come out and it grabbed the tiger in the neck, and it was dragging him along the floor. And I and two of my ring boys, we went in and we got him out. What we didn't know, we thought he was the only one in there. There was another lion sitting on the cage. We never even saw it. When people said, "You were lucky," I said, "What do you mean lucky?" There was another lion in it. We never saw the other lion. But it never joined in, thank goodness. You know, but luckily this guy, Victoria Hospital here, did a good job and stitched him round the neck and got him up. But frightening times, you know. It's but funny things. I mean, it's like kind of, we had an elephant act, and the baby elephant used to run round the top of the ring fence, you see. And then I used to call, I was presenting this act, and he used to go, whatever its name was, and used to come running to me. Well, what I didn't know, its bowels were working very well. And it's running round the ring fence, and as I said, "Come here," and as it turned like that, well, it sprayed the audience. And actually, everybody screamed with laughter, and even the people, we got them tissues, but it was part of it. There was no complaining. We had never had a complaint about it, you know.
Do you miss seeing larger animals in circuses and in entertainment?
Pardon?
Do you miss seeing larger animals and?
Well, I understand the reasons why the people like that, but I mean, yes, you do. That's circus. That is animal, elephants and things like that. I mean, we had Bobby Roberts here with his elephants, and every morning they used to go across the road onto the beach, and there used to be thousands watching them. And the animal training, a lot of people don't really understand. They think you have to be cruel to get them to do it. You have to have a lot of patience, discipline, but discipline doesn't mean hitting and banging them. My father was a very, very good animal trainer. Horses, dogs, anything like that. Never anything like that. Hard. It's like you see horses this is the funny thing that makes me laugh. If I see 6 horses in the ring, people go, "Oh, what about 6 horses in the show jumping things?" You know, they're well looked after. They have to be taught. Doesn't it, you know? And most of these things, people want money, and you don't know where the money's going, if you know what I mean. And no, I think it's. We do miss the animals. I mean, nowadays, the majority of circuses in England have no animals. There's a few, there's about 4 still have animals, and they do that, and they're animals are sort of, you know, if you have a horse, you're going to look after it, make sure it's properly trained. You don't have to knock it about. I know from my dad's experience, and when I was with Bertram Mills Circus, you know, you practice every day. You have to be patient. If you were doing like that, they put a wall up in front of you. They resist this, resist that. It's hard. It's always easy. It's like with the budgies. I train every day. Even during the lockdown, I train because this is my part of my life. And I enjoy. Every night, I go upstairs, whatever's on there, for about an hour, and practice them. And I just enjoy to do it, you know. And it's what should I say? It's a hobby as well, I suppose. But I know how much patience people say. "Oh, train, but no, come and watch me train." "Oh no, come and watch me train." No, and I don't want to do it. You know, well, don't complain if you can see the answer. You know, it's quite difficult. But there you go.
How difficult is it to train a budgie? I've had a budgie, and the thing I wouldn't even know where to start with it.
Yeah. It takes me about 6 months to get them before they go in there. First of all, to get them hand trained. You know, I've been sitting watching television down here, playing around with them, just getting them calm. You know, and then everybody thinks they copy the others. It doesn't. You individually train them. Just take about 6 months, but enjoyable. Actually, at the moment, I'm a little bit bored with the act because I practice the act every night, but I haven't been able to get any new ones to train, because to me that's the interesting thing. You know, I mean, there's one I've got upstairs now. He does his own thing, and he has given me a couple of ideas. It's like when all go down the slide and he runs down the edge, and you think, well, that's a good gag, that, you know.
You're cutting him in on a bit of extra trill.
Yes. Yeah.
How did you get into pantomime then?
Pantomimes, yes. I was in, the first pantomime I ever was at the Hippodrome Preston, and my dad had the dogs in that pantomime, and we had some ponies in the pantomime, and that's the first pantomime I'd seen backstage. I'd seen them from the front, and then I made this bird act, the budgie act, and then I did a city varieties in Leeds, pantomime there, and the pantomime in Leeds was funny because it was a time there was electricity cuts, but I said to them, buy a small generator. I said, I will look after it. You see, so we had this generator outside the stage door, running the show. I mean, only a few lights, but we kept going. And then all of a sudden, I'm on stage one night, the lights started going ooh and down. I'm thinking, it's running out of petrol. And I went to get the can for the petrol, and the Josephs didn't like spending money on petrol. So I needed petrol. So Stanley Joseph's car's there, and I'm dressed as Alderman Fitzwarren in the street, siphoning petrol. And putting it in the generator and going back, and the lights were, yeah. That and that. Over the years, I think I've done about 11 pantomimes around. I mean, great. I mean, one night I was in Nottingham, Theatre Royal Nottingham, with Frank Bruno, and that was hilarious. All right, man, how are you going? And in between the shows, he and 5 of the people used to go running, and at the end of the show, before the first show, they used to have water gun fights down in the cellars. Big Frank would, whoa, 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 whoa. No, he was really good. I mean, you didn't always get this written script. You see, when you were on with him, you'd say something and you didn't know what was coming back. And he'd probably jump a scene and he said, no, Frank, we haven't got to that scene yet.
That's the joy of pantomime though, isn't it? You can go off the book.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we were in pantomime at the Grand here with a Brighton Breeze, Don Bright. And we had what was he playing in the thing? I don't know. But he was slightly offended, but that doesn't make any difference. But he used to go in the Giant, and he's a Giant used to come on, and with him, he was into, and he'd go, E-5-4-4, and we're doing the dress rehearsal, and he went, E-5, is this radio mic on? Tom and I couldn't look at the Giant anymore, and he said, look at the Giant! And he couldn't look at the Giant. Yeah, but no, pantomime is good. I love doing pantomime. And with Nottingham pantomime, that was it. Then we did a pantomime when Stourbridge, I think it was Stourbridge or Stourport, and Llewellyn Williams was going to be the principal comedian. Anyway, he was taken ill, and so they said, can you do the part? So I said yes, but I booked for was it Boxing Day? No, Christmas Day, booked him to do 2 shows in Skegness. So we went from Stourport or Starbridge to Skegness, learning the script. We started doing, and we did that, and we came back, and I did that. We moved to Gainsborough, places like that, and that was a lot. That was a lot of speciality acts. But the funniest pantomime I've ever been was in Kirkcaldy in Scotland, and I only had the dog act in that. But the first half was pantomime, then the second opening dance was pantomime, then in this order it went my Mark Crawford, Nina musical act, then me with the dog acts, then and another act I can't remember, then Bob and Alf Pearson in the front, and then the finale of the pantomime.
Yeah, very, very confusing that.
Yeah, and I said to them, why did they if we put on a variety show, they won't come, but they'll come to a pantomime. So they saw pantomime for the first hour, then after that, it was a variety show. Yeah.
You spoke then about dogs, and I'm a big dog lover myself. Any breeds that are better to train than others?
Mongrels. I love them. My dad used to love mongrels. They say poodles because they look glamorous and all that. But I mean, my dad always used to say mongrels. Get a mongrel. It just seemed to be more balanced. You see, it's like kind of, even down to budgies, when you get people are breeding birds for good colours and this and that, they're not as brainy as the blue or the green birds, because that's standard, and it's like with dogs for someone else. I mean, we did have a very clever boxer dog, here. Well, we had a boxer, the Yorkshire Terrier, and the boxer was really, really clever. And when we used to come back here, when he'd be at the bottom of the stairs barking, you see, and then one day he was coming down the stairs barking. And we thought, what's he doing? So the next time we walked in very carefully. He never said, "We're up on but he's barking, but he's laying on the bed going, whoo! And we went, rifleman. And if you've never seen a dog look embarrassed in your life. Yeah, it was good, But I mean, all dogs. I mean, I've seen dog acts, but different things. I mean, poodles are very good on their hind legs and things like that, and Alsatians are jumping, and the whole technique of training has got better. People have improved. You just see police dogs, guide dogs. It's got better. It's the first time I've never had a dog, and because we were touring and we had to leave it behind, and Guy doesn't want them. So there you go. What kind of a dog have you got?
I've got Rottweilers.
Oh right, they're good.
They're stupid.
Oh yeah.
Very stupid.
You said Weilers. How many have you got?
3.
3.
3. And the party trick I can do is I can put sausages between my fingers, and then you can feed them like that, and they don't.
Yeah.
Not a mark on you because they're soft. And
Oh yeah.
It's all about how you bring a dog up.
Yeah. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all. How you look after them, how you bring them up. I mean, we used to have at one time. Dad had a dog act and I had a dog act. I think we had 23 dogs.
Wow.
And all mongrels. And one time, when poodles, it was the thing for dog acts to have poodles. We bought 2 poodles. They were more hard work. The brushing, the keeping, as Dad used to say, the dogs need a bath. There's a river at the next town. Let them get in, and that was it. But Rottweilers, how long you had those?
So Bruce is, I think, 5, Matilda's 4, and Bowser's 2.
Oh, wow.
So it's mum, dad,
I see.
and the baby. We had an accidental litter.
Oh, wow.
But they're gorgeous. I've had Rottweilers before, and it's that horrible stereotype people look, and you still get people now across the road.
I know.
and you just think. I think it says more about the person
Yeah,
if they say, "Oh, they're dangerous dogs." No, they're not. They're soft
good with the kids, are they?
Amazing with children.
Yeah.
And they're just big stupid idiots. Really,
Yeah.
they're clumsy.
Yeah.
Very clumsy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it was about like the Great Dane we had. He was, he was all over the place. One time we were in one town somewhere, and we were on the ground, and he comes back with a chicken in his mouth. I know. Well, it was a cooked chicken in his mouth. And where did he get? And we watched him, and he used to run out of the show, get to this hotel, jump through a window, a low window, and there was chicken coming out. Oh, yeah.
The key to a dog, just feed them and that's it, isn't it? That's all they're interested in.
Of course it is.
And a bit of love, of course.
Yeah, the love is as important as the food. We used to, although we had all these dogs, they all used to get a love from us all, and they used to kind of, when you took they might have come round, stay around and give them a love, and then they wouldn't come back again. We've had our bird on you. It was, yeah.
When you were performing in pantomime then, was it your choice of what you were putting in the act? Or was it the producers saying to you, we want dogs, or we want the budgies, or...
Well, it was up to the producer. I mean, I didn't have the two acts at the same time. It was either budgies or dogs, So, I mean, I think Kemble Theatre in Hereford, there used to be you could probably look, there's a Jack Lewis. They used to have a show called This Was the Army, and there used to be a lot of the gay guys and dressed as the army people, and he used to do a pantomime every year, and that was Kemble Theatre in Hereford. That was good. I suppose pantomimes, I used to like playing the parts, whatever a part, and it was always written in. I did the bird act at some time. I did pantomime in Billingham. That's up your way, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I did two pantomimes in Billingham. I was the king one year. That used to have on my crown a couple of budgies every time I came in. I used to work with Bernie Clifton, and I were in that pantomime at Billingham. Do you know Bernie?
He's been on the podcast.
Well, yeah. Lovely nutcase. Lovely nutcase. And when he and I plus others were on there, it was always in the script. But we did a lot of things together. All the cast used to come down because it was like a battle of wits at night, and it was really, really fun. It was good fun to be with. And we used to have, you learn a lot from these people, and we'd try and outsmart each other now. He really screwed me one night. I used to have to come on and say, I've got the scroll. I've got the scrolls. Something like that. He said, now I know why you walk funny. And I completely went. And then I went and the cast went, I've lost there. And we don't have anything. He went for it and he said, I think we better get on with this.
That's the thing with Bernie, you never know what you're going to get, do you?
Oh, no. No, he was, well, I always remember we did a publicity thing, and the lady from the theatre, she said, well, you were going to do this publicity, and there's bags of, he got those two rubbish bags, he said, put these in the back of the car. So she's what they're giveaways for the kids. So she carried them all around this hospital looking at kids. So he said, well, when are we going to give the giveaways away? Yeah, he just turned them up. There's all ice cream cartons and things. So anyway, so we're going back. He said, let me drive the car back. So we go back, So he said, oh God, I've left the radio mic in the house. So he said, right, he said, well, I'll wait here and turn the car around. You go in the house, just walk in, and on the floor and there, you'll see the radio mic. So she goes and I said, what are you laughing? He said, that's not my house at all. So she apparently went in the house and looking around. The lady in the house said, what are you doing? She said, well, I come for the radio mic. What radio mic? She said, well, Bernie doesn't live here. And we cried and it was great fun.
We were talking before we started recording about Ken Dodd and the friendship you had with Ken, but you must have made so many friends in the business over the years.
Well, you do, don't you? I think I'm a people's person. I'll go out and I know people and like round it. Since we've been kind of home, I know so many people around here that I used to see before. Now I say, hi, how are you? And start to talk. But Ken and I used to go around. I mean, we were coming back from Gravesend, doing a show in Gravesend, and we were going somewhere near Birmingham. And he said, we're just going here, and of course, everybody's round him, and then we're talking, and we get going, and then all of a sudden, we're going to be late. But no, Ken was a people's person as well. I love Ken. Lady Anne, we're great. We phone about once a fortnight now. But Ken, we went right up to the top of Scotland with Ken, and where was it? Inverness, right there. And we used to go around there, and he used to say one day, right, so we'll go around the lakes. So we get in the car, and we're driving around the lakes, and then we stop for an ice cream. There's crowds around him, and then we go on, and we finally get back to Inverness at 7:25 as the show starts at 7:30. And I'm worried, and I'm not on for another hour and a half. And he just calmly goes in and gets on. The audience, knowing they're going to be late, they know they're going to be there all night.
That was the thing with Ken, wasn't it? It was his trust, mutual trust with the audience as well, that they knew they were having a great time. And for Circus, have you ever found certain audiences different around the world?
Oh yeah. In Germany, excellent. France, good. I had been at the what's it called, the place in Paris, Cirque du Bear, and superb audience. Funny thing happened in Cirque du Bear. I was just down there to do the budgie act, and do one other thing, and then they said to me, I was there we're doing a television show. They were doing it for France, and I was doing it for England, apparently. For America. And I was the English voice. So, but the next night, they were doing a gala for France. So at the end, they said to me, could you do the gala tomorrow? I said, what? They said, you'll have to do it in French. Okay. So I sat up with my friend, I phoned my friend, get over here quickly. And we learnt most of the things. We had the cards and things like that. So I'm doing this, and halfway through I'm really struggling. Maintenant, madame, monsieur, pour la première fois, and I'm going, and I don't know how to get out of this. And I just stopped and I said, it's not so easy for me. And the place roared, and after that I could do whatever I wanted. And it was for the Bouillon. He said to me, you did very well. He says, I've never seen anything like that. And they were on my side. So I did it in French and English, What was it? I'd say, carry on in English, all accepted, And they drilled me the night before. got to be da 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 da. But was I happy to get out of that system? No, it was good. You know, they're all kind of experience things to do, learn, you know.
Any difficult audiences then?
Difficult? Oh yes, you know, I mean, we've had them when I was 21 years with Zippo Circus, and you get kind of really, really difficult, you know. You think, well, are we doing it right, you know, and then they'll come out and say, we really enjoyed that, and you feel like saying, you know, why didn't you applaud? But now, the last years with Zippos, I always used to do a warm-up. You know, just before the show, I said, well, welcome, introduce everybody. I said, but it all depends on you. You are the most important people in it. It's your applause, your laughter that drives the show along. And just do it. And with a laugh on, and it made a big, big difference. They were with you. Like I always used to say at the end of the show, you're never too old, you're never too young, you're never too cool to go to a circus.
Very true. And you've got a huge fan, haven't you, as well? Somebody who gave you a little badge a while ago,
Yes.
didn't they?
Yes.
Yes. How did that come about then?
Well, I'd met her at Olympia in London, the last Olympia in London, with Bertram Mills Circus when it was closing down, and she brought all the royal family there, Princess Anne, Margaret, you know, everybody. She said, I don't want my children to go through life without seeing Bertram Mills Circus, and you know, which is, you know, yeah, she was just wonderful, and I'm very proud of it, very, very proud, and I know when I went down there, and she said, I'm not allowed to say what else she said, you know.
Aren't you? Oh, you can't give us an exclusive.
Well, she did say, you know, I've seen you many times, I know what you do, congratulations, you know.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Must have been ecstatic.
Oh, fills me up now.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah. No, it's great. I know, but I was happy for myself and happy for my business, the circus, because people who are circus, the people that go say that don't know what good entertainment it is. You know, you go out, you have fun, and they come out, you see people risking life like Tim, and yeah, it's a good form of entertainment. Well, it's worldwide, isn't it? Circuses around the world. You know, I mean, I've never wanted to do anything else. You know, it's played a major part in my life. The people you meet, the artists you meet, and I mean, I can honestly say, every show I've ever been on, I've enjoyed being there. You know, and that's small ones to very large ones. And what I like, how can I explain? I don't like to work for a direction. I like to work for a person that I can talk to, I feel is camarade. And from Bertram Mills, Cyril Mills, him and I were great pals. In America, Paul Piner, great pal. And that's how I like to work. And I feel comfortable, you know. And if I don't feel comfortable, I don't work well. You know, it's not a money thing. It's just a heart thing. I like to be comfortable with people.
Have you ever tried anything else in the circus? Have you ever had a go at the high wire, or have you ever had a dabble with anything?
No. I mean, I have. You know, I mean, I used to do a juggling act with Bobby Roberts, and yeah, I mean, I've done that type of thing, but no trapeze. I'm not good at heights. You know, I don't like climbing the rope. Although I have been up to get some. We had in the tower one year somebody that got a costume caught when she was going up, she had a necklace on going up, and it caught in there, so we had to kind of go up and, oh no, couldn't come down. I mean, that was, I don't know how I went up there, I don't know, but I admire people that do it. No, I mean, throughout the career you do anything, you present many different acts. I presented a bear act, the dog act I had, horse act I presented, the Ben Hur act, high school act. Yeah, done the full gambit of it, but I mean, I just am pleased I've done what I've done. So up to now, who knows which way we might go.
I remember seeing you a little while ago on the London Palladium show.
That's right.
As well. Yeah. And that must have got you a whole new audience.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yeah. That was great, because somebody phoned me up and said, would you like to do the Palladium? And I thought they were joking. I said, yeah, okay. What, the Palladium? You know, and no, they said, the Palladium. I went, of course. I went, yeah. No, it was great.
Was that your first time there?
Yeah. Well, no, I'd been there once before. At a Royal performance, they did a circus scene, and I kind of was ringmaster, but not really doing it. I was just there, had to go forward, take the power, and introduce the people. But yeah, no, it was great. Oh yeah.
The feel of that auditorium.
Yes.
There's something special, isn't
there?
Very,
very special indeed. I went in early and just had a really good look at it. And, it's great. Now, very proud to have done it, and over the years, it's kind of like in New York, we did the act in a church. There was a church thing going on, festival of entertainment in New York, and they said, "Will you come along and do the act in front of the altar?" So I said, "Well, if it's fine with you, it's fine with me." Yeah. And they said, I don't know what it was for. I think it was to raise money for the church or something like that. But it was good, yeah. But America was great. Long journeys. I always remember we were coming back from, where was it? We're on this journey, and the snow was terrible, everything. So I said, I'm just going to pull off the road. And I pulled in a supermarket car park, and Sally was saying, "You shouldn't pull on this car park, I said, I don't care. Anyway, we're there about 5, the police car arrives. This big plump lady got out, police, I said, "Hi, are you all right, honey?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I've just pulled it in, but..." She said, "You stay there as long as you want to." She said, "My number is 48. She said, "If anybody else, 48, said you're all right." Yeah, but it was, it was a sensible thing to do. There was lorries all over the place. But it was good. It was great times. And I mean, when we were in New York, with the Big Apple, just to be there and go around, and it was unbelievable, And we used to kind of like to go out at night, and you kind of felt, well, I don't say now, but you felt pretty safe. There are a lot of police about. I mean, you never see a policeman nowadays, But we used to feel pretty safe going around. But that show was good. It was a big show. And we travelled thousands of miles with that show. And one day I'm travelling and we're driving along. We're of course on the right hand side, and all of a sudden I just look down and I see a wheel passing me, and it was the wheel of the caravan. But luckily it was a dual axle. The wheel on the caravan, and it just went into the air of time. But we had, I think, if you go with an open mind anyway, and you get, as I say, there was a lot of Chinese people on the show there, and I just got to know everybody all the time. I used to go and eat with the Chinese, you know, just to be amongst them. And I found that by doing that, you made your work as the ringmaster easier, because you were part of them. They respected you, and then they knew you respected them. As I said before, it's about respect. Great enjoyment.
Where did you meet your wife?
Well, at the ice show in Blackpool. She was an ice skater at the ice show, and every month we used to have an evening out at some. Well, actually, they've just knocked the club down in Blackpool, and it used to be a cabaret club. And I'd said to my friend, "Save me a seat for the meal," and he'd forgotten. And the only seat in the whole place was next to Sally. So that's how it started. Just fate, yeah. And that's how we met. Then we took it from there, and that's how we went on. Yeah.
Has she ever had part of the act?
She used to help assist me in the act. And then the guy came along, the son came along, and that was the end of that.
And your son is one of the leading prop makers of magic in the world.
Well, he's doing well. He's doing very well. He's very conscientious about it. He works very hard. We get a bit concerned about it because it's all centred around that. Making props, coming home, designing props, and that's what the whole thing. But yes, he does work hard, and he's got some good people with him, and yeah, we'll take you up there later and let you have a look.
Oh, thank you. Did he used to come on the road with you much?
No, not a lot. He did to certain places, but then he started doing his own magic act and going out. But he travelled yes, he came down to pantomimes. I think it was pantomimes in, was it Bath? No, where were we? No, with Frank Bruno, Nottingham, because he had Frank Bruno learn the script. He used to go around and yeah, he works very hard, sometimes too hard. But there you go. You know, he's conscientious.
When you were little, did you go and see many pantos?
Yeah, we used to go. We lived in Yorkshire, in a place called Great Ousburn, and we used to go every week on a Thursday night to the York Empire. Whether we get in the car, it didn't matter who was on, we went. But that was variety, of course. And then we used to see the pantomimes in York, in Harrogate, and we started Leeds. Leeds, you always used that. The Grand Theatre Leeds used to have a big pantomime. Yeah, I always remember, what was his name? Over the Garden Wall. Norman Evans. Norman Evans, excellent in the pantomime. You know, Dr. Hardcastle, he's lovely, Mrs. Hoss.
Never been tempted to go Dame?
Yeah, I was asked to do it one time. Yeah. I quite like to do it. You know, I'm not right to a line, but I am. Any pantomime. I mean, it's normally the Baron or whatever. You know, but yeah, the Dame's a good part.
I could see you as Dame actually with the budgies and incorporating them on the costumes. And
oh yeah.
Would you be up for it if somebody asked you?
I possibly would be. Yeah. Yeah.
Any producers listening? There you go.
Yeah. No, it's. I know working with John Inman in Stockport, and we used to have this scene where we were all on, and John would be there, and he'd curtsy to whoever, and the drummer was good. But when he curtsied, he'd always have a kind of and the big laugh was because we get to this part now, and John always said, "Oh, I wonder what the noise is going to be tonight." We all used to go into this. And the drummer was wonderful. He used to have all his toys set. Whatever happened, he had an. And I always remember I one night was walking off with something, and I generally bumped into the trossard, and he immediately went, "Back now!" And he was that quick, because he watched everything that was happening, and he had an effect for everybody. Very clever, yeah. He didn't swing as a drum. He was very basic, I suppose, but proper for the effects, wonderful.
Do you go and see many pantomimes now? Pre-COVID, of course.
Yeah, we normally see the Grand Theatre pantomime here. Yeah, that's good. I like going to pantomimes. You know, I just, normally here, and I think, where would you be? Oh, yeah, we went into Manchester, of course, to see the pantomime. Yeah, I love Panto. As I say, when we did these pantomimes with Billy Burden and things like that, I did a pantomime with, 1 or 2 pantomimes with Wynne. We had such a good time. He and I worked very well together, you know. I mean, he was good to work with. But I know, where was it at? What was it? Wynne, I just didn't think. I think it was, could have been Stockport I worked with. Yeah, possibly Stockport, yeah. Good Dane, very good Dane. And we had a lot of fun with him. And what was the thing with when I have to think about that one. No, I was, he did this thing. Oh yeah, yes it was that. And we used to change so much every night. You know. It was like you go on, the script would be there, and you said, we don't want to do that, do we? We'll do this. Okay, go for it. And I would be thinking, where are we going to go? Well, it didn't matter. You know, we'd always get it. That was the fun of it. And everybody could see we were having fun. And more fun we had, the more fun they had. I mean, I don't like in gags. As long as the audience can see what's happening. But when you're having in gag, I mean, I saw a pantomime in Blackpool a few years back, and there was obviously some in gag that we didn't know anything about, and they were having it all the way through. And, you know, I couldn't understand it. You know. But also in this pantomime in Bath, for the finale, you used to have, everybody had to wear white gloves. Maddox pantomimes. And the stage manager used to have 3 pairs of white gloves then. So if you got any, glove, don't worry, I've got them here. Because he used to get a rollicking. So he had a stock of white gloves. It was good, fine. But no, I think, where was it? I think was it the Palladium? The pantomime at the Palladium. No, somewhere, no, it wasn't the Palladium. It was so out of the script, and you're sitting there thinking, what is really going on here, you know? It was, I mean, the Palladium now is great with, I tell you who's good in the Palladium, Nigel Havers. You see, he's very underrated. Well, not underrated, but what he does, it's really good. I mean, I like him on this, what do you call, antique show. He's good on that. Have you ever seen him on it?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
He's just chatting away and good. Yeah.
Very suave.
That's the right way. No, exactly.
You said working with Wynne. I saw this sort of childish look in your face, like this little naughty boy.
That's right, yeah.
Do you think you've ever grown up?
No.
Men don't, do we?
No. I mean, the thing is, I mean, Sally and I have fun all day long. We just laugh and tease each other. And when I go to Charlie, it's the same thing. We just tease each other and have fun. That's what life's about. There's too many miserable people about, you know. You know, you've met miserable people, but life is to be lived and enjoyed. And, you know, when it's my time, I will have enjoyed it. Yeah. Because I'm going to be, was it 86 next week? No, not in December. Yeah. But, you know, I still now work like heck. If I have to have a job to do every day. I mean, we had a backyard. I made that backyard into a garden, painted all the walls around. I mean, this is the next job. When it gets a bit colder, the door in here, you know. I think you've got to keep the mind going, isn't it? You know, I see so many people who are friends of mine that's kind of going down because, well, I'm 65 now, it's all over. No, well, I say you got to live. Get out, do it. You know, it's fun though.
Well, this leads me on to my last question. Your dream pantomime. So you can be in it, you can be in the stalls watching it, you can choose the production, you can choose a theatre, and your cast can be alive or dead or a mixture of both.
My dream pantomime, I would be, played so many different parts. I think of Baron Hardup in Cinderella. I must tell you a story about Cinderella. That's just right. So, we went to see a pantomime in Brighton at the, not the Hippodrome Theatre, whatever the theatre. And the lady that was playing Cinderella, she used to play the saxophone, a variety act. So it's the kitchen scene, and the ugly sisters go off to the ball, and she's so sitting there and says, "Oh dear, I feel so alone. I think I'll play my saxophone." I was crying with laughter. Yeah.
Well, for your pantomime then, who's going to be? So you'd be Baron Hardup. Who'd be Buttons?
Buttons, I would have. Let me just think. Who played Buttons in that pantomime? Actually, Richard Cadell. I did a pantomime with Richard Cadell, and he was good in it. Buttons. I'd put him as Buttons. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Richard
And the other part is Cinderella. Actually, I worked with Linda Nolan. And she was a good principal girl. That's a long time. And not now. You talk about, yeah. And what was the other one?
So we need Prince Charming.
Prince Charming. Oh yeah, who was it the other lot within? Actually, there was a very good man who used to play Prince Charming for years. Died, and I won't think of him now because I wouldn't refer. Prince Charming. What's it called? What's the next one? Prince Charming
And Dandini.
And then yeah. No, actually, to tell you the truth, Linda would make a better. She was Prince Charming in the pantomime. Yes, in Southport, Stockport, or something like that. Yeah, and I tell you, who was also very good in the pantomime was the other of one of the Nolans. She was. Well, you've got Prince Charming, you've got Dandini. Who have we got?
So we need a Cinderella.
Cinderella. Can't think of a Cinderella at the moment.
We can come back to the Cinderella.
Yeah.
So who would be your uglies?
Barry Chatt and Terry Gardner. Very good. Excellent. That's perfect.
You never told me your venue for your...
Pardon?
You never told me your venue for your dream pantomime.
Oh, Palladium.
Of course. You had a surprise once from a certain Mr. Aspel. A certain red book. This is your life.
Yes, it's a long story, not a long story, but it's a story. What should I say? They've been working on it for a while. My wife couldn't talk to me because she wouldn't let it out. So this particular day, they said, we want you to go to Manchester and look at Bellevue, where the circus is. And I'm thinking, so the coach came and I got on the thing and went, we want you to look at Bellevue. We take it. So I go out to Bellevue, Manchester, thinking, oh, what do I want to see here? I'm walking around Bellevue. Anyway, while they're rehearsing. So I come back, and we're in a traffic jam coming back, and I'm worried about, I'm going to be late for the show, but they're twice as worried because they think they've got this to do. So I got back there, and when I went into the ring, that was the water finale, you see. And I'm going in the water finale, and they say that to me, they're making this last year over the Tower Circus. Keep looking at the camera, keep looking at the camera. It's the last year of the Tower Circus, okay? So I walk down there, and the place erupts. But why? What I don't know, Michael Aspel's walking down beside me, you see. And I'm standing there to say, thank you very much. And then you just tap it. That's all how it started. But before that, you see, and after that happened, I went back to my dressing room and I wasn't allowed to meet anybody. I had to sit in the dressing room and John Fisher sitting with me, and there were sandwiches and coffee, and I wanted to go to the loo, and they put a blanket and led me to the loo. I mustn't see anybody. Anyway, then it came to the thing, you know. What a surprise it was. Oh, fabulous night. Wonderful. And I mean, they'd flown in, well, they fly in people from everywhere. The Young Brothers came from America, and somebody came from all over. But it was, great surprise, great honour to have it. Yeah.
Not many people have had that honour.
No, and I was, proud to have done it. Met so many people that I hadn't seen for years. And the nice thing about it, I used to work for Cyril Mills, Bertram Mills Circus. And he was 80 odd and in not very, very good health. And they approached him if he would come, and he said, no. But then they said, who's it for? And they said, it's Nora. And again it came to me, and they said, yeah, I'll go. And that kind of, when I met him there, I was kind of, what should I say? Well, I knew how ill he was, and he was there. Cyril Mills, there was two brothers, Cyril and Bernard Mills ran the show, and Bernard used to see to all the artists, the animal side of it, and Cyril used to see to all the kind of technical side, and he invented the wire cage which came out of the ring. And one night in the winter, he and I are working on this. It's snowing, we're outside, but we've got to get it ready for the Olympia show. And we're working with that car headlights, and we're working on all of this. And it just went on and on and on. But he always appreciated it. He was the type of person, you know, like we were trying this cage one night out when the tent was up, and it was a massive big wild animal cage. And he said, we're going to cut it, make it smaller or something. So he said, well, cut it here. And I said, no, we're cutting it in the wrong place. You stupid idiot, you open your mouth and say anything. I said, no, we're cutting it in the wrong place. If you cut it where the door is, we only have half to cut, whereas we've got like kind of 20 feet to cut. No, you said the first thing that comes into your head. So I said, oh, bloody hell, make a mess of it. And I just stormed, I was really annoyed, went into my caravan. And I sit there thinking, I'm going to get sacked for this. And I'm going to, you know, this and that. And about 10 minutes later, Norman, yes, Mr. So, you clever little bugger, I'd have made myself look so stupid. Come on, let's cut the cage. And from that moment, we got on so well for the rest of the 3 years we were there. You know, because he appreciated the truth, you know, and it was good fun. Yeah. But we had, you know, Olympia in London used to seat 7,000 people, and as I said to you before, that's how we used to have the royal performances and things like that, which were, what should I say, exciting, worrying, you know. We were walking around the stables, and they used to have beautiful horses and circus kiddies, and we're walking around the stables, and the Queen and everything were there. And what happens when you walk past our office? So I just said, excuse me. Somebody, one of the other royal family said, oh, we thought it was a horse. Which made everybody laugh, you know. No, she was really nice. When we were with Mills, down at Ascot, they used to have them in winter quarters. And one day, I got a man, Prince Philip's coming down. And he came down, he was coming to look at a car thing. So he came in, it was really, really cold. So we were walking around and he had, any coffee on this bloody place? I said, yeah, I'll make you one. And I actually made a coffee. Yeah. And he was so nice and so down to earth. And did you see the programme about him the other night? Prince Philip?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it was really good. Really good. What he's done in his life. Yeah, you know, it was excellent. I admired him, you know. But how he made a real mess of himself.
Yeah. What would be your advice then for anybody who wants to break into the industry?
Circus industry.
Yes.
Well, how do you mean to break into it as an act?
As an act, or even just to approach people?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, everybody's very approachable. If you've got a good act, you just contact the circus. There's not so many circus agents around as there used. You just contact the circus, and they'll come and set, or you send a video, DVD, or whatever, you know. And it's pretty simple to get that way. If you've got the right product, somebody will see it, and if you get booked with Circus Krona, just say, then somebody will say, oh yeah, book you around. It's like Martin Burton from Zippos. He would go off to Germany, into Europe, looking at acts, and just book them up, you know, direct. Some would be going through an agent, but it's not that important. Some would book direct.
Well, Norman, thank you so much for speaking to the Panto podcast.
Thank you very much indeed. It was very good. I enjoyed it. Sorry I couldn't remember who that was. That girl in the pantomime. What do we think about it? I'll write to her.
Thank you.